Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate to Lawyer. We really live in a bizarre world. And I dare say this afternoon that the Senzo MEYIWA trial will go down in the history of criminal trials in this country as the most bizarre trial that has ever attracted the attention of our courts. Let us look at it this way. When this trial started, or let us even let us look at the time even prior to the death of Senzo MEYIWA. You know, Kelly Khumalo was this girlfriend of Senzo MEYIWA. And Senzo was cheating on his wife, Mandisa. Senzo then dies at the home of his girlfriend, Kelly Khumalo. Subsequent to that, this is the narrative of Baloyi and Gininda. Subsequent to that, Kelly Khumalo then makes a statement. And in that statement, she says, I was also robbed of a cell phone during that ordeal. Understandable stuff. She was in the house, it claims intruders went into the house, and she was robbed of a cell phone. How plausible that can be. Now, after that, the prosecution draws up a list of witnesses and also draws up what is known as, a summary of substantial facts, in which summary they just, give a brief outline of the nature of the evidence. Kelly Khumalo is then listed as a witness, and a very key witness for that matter, because, she had a cell phone robbed from her. And that is the subject of count 3 in the charge sheet. But that was not to be. The prosecution goes on and on and on and on, supposedly on this trajectory that this was a robbery that had gone wrong. Everybody then expects Kelly Khumalo to be called over the months and years. It's taken 2 years for the prosecution to round up his case. At the close of the prosecution case, the prosecution ends up not calling Kelly Khumalo, Senzo's girlfriend and the victim, mentioned in the robbery count, remember? This comes at a complete shock to the defense. And in fact, at some stage, I think it was it was not advocating Khumalo, it was Advocate Munisi, who then, inquired from the prosecution to say, now that, given that the prosecution has now rounded its case, does it mean that Kelly Khumalo is now available to the defense? And Baloyi was quick to reply that she's up for grabs by the defense. If the defense wants to use Kelly Khumalo, there you can have him. But that is very startling. Kelly Khumalo was the boyfriend of Senzo. She comes up with a statement that she has been robbed of a cell phone. That cell phone has never been found anywhere. Kelly Khumalo ends up not being called as a witness. Right? No evidence is laid about that cell phone robbery. That's what is going on here. What is Baloyi and Gininda out? So today we hear earlier on, Baloyi Jr. Baloyi has now thrown the book at his junior, and it is Sibanda who is now left to carry the baby. Sibanda said in passing that they would only use Kelly Khumalo, but that is very crucial because it's not the first time this thing comes. they would only possibly consider using Kelly Khumalo at the end of the present trial. How then would they use her? Say these people are convicted, or these people are set free. You then cobble up some other trial and in which Kelly Khumalo will then feature. Something is not right here. So we saw Prosecutor Sibanda tell the court today that, oh, well, she's available to the defense. Again, echoing what Balu has always said, that, given that we did not call her during the prosecution case, this is up there for grabs. Literally now, throwing Kelly Khumalo under the bus, right? Because remember, she started off as a victim. She does not testify to that robbery charge. She appears nowhere. Because apparently the narrative now has shifted. Because she is possibly now being considered to be the mastermind. Things in this trial just mutate, in front of your eyes. 1 minute, this is what Kelly Khumalo is. The next, she completely mutates into something else. I think there's a game that the prosecution is playing. And there needs to be some kind of investigation into this. So, we have seen how Banda is trying to, tie the dots together to try that, there's a case to answer. There's a case to answer for the accused persons. In the morning edition of the Daily Fix, I'll be giving a detailed, analysis of what Sibanda is, putting together to sort of rebut, the defense position, that, there's no case to answer. So I'll be bringing you a detailed, version of that in the next edition. But this is a tragic trial. Tragic trial. 1 minute people are complainants, the next thing they are masterminds of the whole thing, but nothing ever happens. And hardly anybody, raises an eyebrow to say, but what is going on here? Some of these prosecutors are accountable to their bosses and, are up the chain of command. I wonder what their boss is looking into, what is transpiring in this case. Have you got anything to say about the shenanigans that we see unfold in this trial every day? Having said that, there you have him. Sibanda has literally thrown Kelly under the bus. Perhaps the defense must grab her, issue a subpoena, compel her. Like I've always said in the past, issue a subpoena against her to compel and, put her in that witness box and confront her about some of the allegations that have been made against her. The most important one being, were you the mastermind of this whole thing? Of course, Kelly will say, I have never been the mastermind of this thing. And that will all, have the impact of what? It will simply rubbish the version that, the mastermind version, that the prosecution now seems to be going along with. You see, they have run away from that robbery gone wrong position. They are now clinging to the mastermind narrative. And they still have the guts to say that should they not get a conviction in this one, they might consider using Kelly Khumalo. That is the Senzo MEYIWA trial for you. So let us wait for tomorrow morning and see where you take things. Having said that, let me thank you for watching this video. and see you in the next episode, which will be tomorrow morning. Thank you very much.